Hello, and welcome back to Satisfactory Outposts in the Desert. It's been a few days. I've done a lot of work between episodes here, getting this set up for future episodes. I went ahead and put in a fourth cluster of copper smelters here, and I connected it to. It's being fed by two separate uh, normal quality copper nodes. So while these other three clusters are fed by one pure node each, this cluster is being fed by two normal quality. It's the results are the same. But after looking at some of the recipe changes, I really think we're going to need uh, all four of these clusters making copper ingots, both for the copper products and for aluminum, alkali aluminum sheets, and also probably to extend our quick wire. So let's go to the second floor here. I've done a lot of work. This is just a super basic setup. I didn't think that people would want to watch me laying down 104 constructors. If I'm wrong, put a note in the comments, and I'll show this in the future. But I'll just go over what I did here. This entire setup of 52 constructors here is going to be fed by one belt of copper ingots. So this belt is going to be fully compressed, at a Mark V quality, so that'll be 780 copper ingots per minute. And each of these constructors requires 15 copper ingots per minute. So 780 divided by 15, that's 52 constructors. This is just 4 lanes of 13 constructors each, for 52 total. And they're set up pretty standardly. There's splitters coming here to feed this row of constructors. It's merging with this row here. We've got another line of another splitter here that's feeding these two rows with copper ingots, and then this fourth row is being fed over here with this last row of splitters, and and these third and fourth rows are merging here. So we'll have two belts of wire coming out of these 52, and you need that because each constructor is putting out 30 wire per minute, and you can't fit that many wires on one belt. But if we split them up by 26 constructors, each putting out 30 per minute, that's exactly 780. So that each pair of rows here will completely fill a Mark V belt with wire. So this belt, we're just going to bring down and put in a storage container. I don't know where we want our storage containers. Probably 1, 2. Oh, we really need a little more space here, but we just don't have it. It's a little cramped up here. So for now, we'll say 1, 2. We're out of pipes. That's poor planning on my part. My bad. Let's bring this forward. We need to raise this off the ground at some point here. This actually needs to be a splitter. Okay. Okay, actually let's feed it into this second container. So this is just or it will be a fully compressed belt, Mark V belt of wire. Now from this, the third and fourth rows, we've got to get a little clever here. We're going to use a splitter coming off of this set of mergers. Well, let's line it up. Yeah, that's nice. And some of this belt will be feeding into the same industrial storage container here. Is that centered? No. We'll just use the lower input there. Is that lined up? Doesn't look like it. Maybe it is. Okay. And the rest of the belt that we've got split off here, we're going to use in a cable assembly. We're going to turn the rest of this wire into cable. And I think we're making only 8 constructors. Yeah. That should be enough. We can always put down more later if we need to. We've got plenty of room to extend this line. So the recipe for cable is a little intensive. We need 60 wire per minute for each of these constructors. So that's what, 480 wire total. That's more than half of our second belt of wire. Put down our mergers. We can use Mark I belts here. Definitely starting to worry about our power. I know that if our iron outposts and our concrete outposts were currently running, right now all of their storage containers are full, but if that wasn't the case and they were actually running right now, our power would have flipped off because we are building on a really large scale. And even though we haven't connected all of the machines, we've connected enough to surpass our like 1200 megawatts, I'm sure. Okay. Now Mark III belts here. That will be upgraded to Mark Vs, you know, when that's an option. And let's get some power. Let's keep it clean here. There we go. Too long? Okay. There we go. Now, how many of these can we power? We've got... Actually... Need to bring our... Let's lift this up. This is our belt of wire. It's going to need to feed both rows of constructors. Okay. So right now this belt is limited to 240, and we know it's not 240 because it's being split over there. But that's fine. Let's just assume that at some point it could be 240. Each of these requires 60, so that means we could power or supply 4 of these constructors making wire. And now these will output from these mergers, and we're going to go ahead and pop them into this storage container. So now we're filling a storage container with cable and with wire. Alright. We're going to need another storage container here for more wire, and also for copper sheets. Honestly, I guess there's no real need to have a storage container full of ingots. It's not important. But let's run the lanes of ingots that we'll use for alkylate aluminum sheets, and also for quick wire just to the other side, so that all of the products of this factory are consolidated on the southern side. We'll just sneak it right through here. I wonder if I should have moved these a little closer to the edge. Definitely should have. Okay, nice. I have the room. Let's do that. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, much better. It's always good to create a little space when you can. When things are super cramped, it's really hard to, have clarity about what's going on. Okay. So these are the two belts of copper ingots. Each of these, you know, has the potential to be fully compressed at Mark V once all of the machines downstairs are powered and we're using Mark III miners. Okay, let's quickly run and get a few steel pipes to use for our storage containers. See if we need anything else. Now, I've been looking at the recipes, and it seems like they've shifted a lot of things that were made with copper wire or cable over to copper sheets. But I'm not clear exactly on, what kind of ratios we're gonna need. So I've set up another full system of like 52 constructors for wire on the other side of that platform. Where are the pipes at? But I don't think we're going to need that much wire. I think it's likely that we're going to need a fair amount of copper sheets instead. You can see I deconstructed all of our starter factory that was making copper and steel, and I just put it all into those storage boxes there. So the starter factory is basically gone except for, the hub and the MAM. And some really, like, one machine automated setups for, like, quick wire or crystals. Alright. So now we'll have two more industrial storage containers, one for wire, one for copper sheets. Cool. So this is the identical array of 52 constructors for wire. Okay. Let's turn this just so it's identical. It seems like they made it a little harder to see what you're deconstructing with the patch today. Okay. So we'll split this, and these also need to go up here. But we want to lift it up so it doesn't include the merger output. Okay, this will also come up here. Okay, we actually need another splitter here. Because these ingots will also feed this future array of copper sheets. We're going to start with 24. It's just going to be 12 on each side. This may need to be reconfigured in the future if we see that we need more copper sheets. These 24 will produce 240 copper sheets a minute. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. If it's not, we can always, remove some of these constructors that are making wire and put down, another set of 24. We'll just have to, get to the mid-game and see what we need. Honestly, I don't think that I've ever spent this much time in tiers 3 and 4. I was thinking about this earlier today. I was like, wow, we've been in tiers 3 and 4 for quite a while now. But what we're doing here is we're setting ourselves up in a way that, like, once this is all done, once this is all set up, all of our outposts, we're just gonna fly to endgame, really. Like, we'll have to take a little bit of time to set up oil, and figure out all of the fluids and the byproducts there. We'll have to keep increasing our power grid, but for the most part, like, we're setting up ourselves up for success for a pretty long term here. We'll just have to keep, we'll upgrade our belts, and we'll keep cabling up more machines as we can support them. But there's not going to be any, like, we're not going to take the time to, like, deconstruct our entire factory and rework it. It's just going to be connecting more machines and upgrading belts, which we can do, in like, 2 minutes. It's going to be super quick. So the idea here is that we're spending a lot of time in this stage of the game now to save us even more time later. And we'll see how that goes. You guys may be tired of watching, this tier 3, tier 4 gameplay. That's reasonable. I'm a little tired of playing in tier 3 and 4. I'm really eager to get to oil and play with oil. But I think that for this outpost style of gameplay, like, I think that setting yourself up is the way to do it. Okay, we need splitters. But, the next tiers they're all on the horizon. We're not there yet. We've still got some work to do, but we can, like, see them from here. We're basically done with the copper outpost once these are all connected, and a few of them are powered up. And I've got the foundations and the walls for the steel outpost built. We're gonna move there as soon as we finish this. It looks pretty cool. It's a cool looking outpost because of the way that they're like these rocky pillars. I mean, you guys will see it, but they kind of dictated the way that the steel outpost was constructed. But it actually worked out really well. Like, it was meant to be. There was a patch today, a lot of bug fixes, and then one thing that was included in the patch was something that I had mentioned wanting in a previous episode, which was like wall attachments for hypertubes. What's going on here? Is this oh, are these all facing the wrong way? Yep. But unfortunately, I think it was a mistake on Coffee Stain's part. They put the unlock for the hypertube wall attachments in a higher tier than hypertubes themselves. So while we've unlocked hypertubes and everything else in tiers 3 and 4, the wall attachments in the coupon shop aren't available until you've unlocked tiers 5 and 6. I'm not sure where exactly. But it's cool that they did that, so that now you can have a wall with like a port in it that your hypertube can go right through. It'll look a little cleaner. Use output at a rate of 10 per minute, so conveyor belt 1. And allegedly, they also fixed the stacking issues with the stackable pipe supports and stackable conveyor poles. So you should be able to have both in a single stack now. I'm going to try that out. I think the next episode after this one, if we finish up the steel outpost, will be an expansion of our power grid. And then really all we need to do is quickly set up a small motor outpost where we'll make rotors and stators and the motors themselves. I don't think it makes sense to make the turbo motors there just because of the extreme number of different products. I think turbo motors will probably either be like their own outpost, or we may have like a central outpost for all of the really end game products right now. I guess like the most in-game products right now are like turbo motors and maybe supercomputers. I'm still on the fence about how I want to do computers. Like, is it an outpost that makes circuit boards and computers? Do we want to go with like a huge outpost making everything electronic related? Like, not only circuit boards and computers, but also AI limiters, high-speed connectors, supercomputers. Okay, let's get some power over here. Can I select the recipe on all these? Yeah, good. And just decide how many we can support right now. 20 each. So we can support half of these. Let's check our power grid. Alright. It looks fine. Okay, now we'll wire up half of them. So, 6 pairs. Alright. Now let's supply some ingots. Splitter here. Let's raise this up. Okay, this is the outpost, the output. This is going to be fed into this last storage container. And then we'll grab our outputs from both mergers on the wire assembly. Let's see. There we go. 1, 2. good. Now, this setup isn't perfect right now. Like I said, I'm not sure what kind of ratios we're going to need for wire to copper sheets. And the this setup currently, it's going to feed the wire before the copper sheets. So we're not going to have a huge output of copper sheets until this storage container is filled and our wire constructors stop running. But, you know, we'll see. I think it's fine for now, and if we have to, you know, we can always disconnect the cables from our wire constructors, or even just put them into standby mode. That's an even easier solution. But for now, the copper outpost is done. We're really not collecting. Oh, there we go. Slowly accumulating copper sheets, wire at a much faster rate, cable at a good rate. So let's move on to steel. We may need to stock up on supplies here first. No, I think we're good enough. So we've got this hyper tube that'll take us to the steel outpost. It's over here to the south, near our 3 normal coal nodes, and we have 2 pure iron nodes. I haven't picked them up yet. But this first level, let's pop out for a second. This first level is actually smaller than the levels above it, and it's because of these, you know, like this rock outcropping here, and like our miners, I couldn't go farther out. But using the inverted ramps, we've got a pretty good look here, and I've got, you know, the pillars supporting the upper level. I think it turned out pretty good. Are those walls? Okay, it's just a level of detail issue, I think. So let's find our iron ore. There we go. This is the Mark II miner on a pure iron node. Yeah, pure. Let's get some power over here. And I think we're going to, well, let's think about this. Where do we want the iron to come in at? Doesn't really matter. But I think we'll have it come in on this side. Okay, thought that might be too steep, but we're good. Let's find the center here. Now we want a conveyor lift. Another. Okay, I think that cable is fine. I thought it might be clipping, but it actually looks like it just avoids it. I don't know. Yeah, that is the issue with conveyor lifts, it seems like they usually want to, the first click is the one that determines the output direction if there's no belt connected to it. So we can do this. Doesn't really help us that there's a support here. We need to move this. Okay, let's move our pillar back a little bit. There we go. That's fine. Now let's run and grab our other belt of iron from the pure node. Forgot a base there. It's all the way over here. Yeah, I think that this makes the most sense to enter from this direction. Alright. Now that these belts are connected, and that we're coming from the bottom, the conveyor list will output the right direction. Alright. Let's get back up there. I don't have an easy way of doing that. Guess we can leave that for now, that's fine. Okay, so our iron will be coming here. Okay, that's what I did. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a single line of smelters. Or a single pair. And we're going to be inputting from the center. How many? Let's see. I can't remember how many smelters I need here. Okay, 48. So, line of 24. It's a lot, but it's not a ton. Not nearly as many as we've had in our iron outpost. Smelter. So this will be 2. let's create a little bit of space here. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Perfect. So there's 24. Now we'll set up our second set of 24. Now we need these smelters because we're using the alternate recipe for steel that instead of using iron ore and coal, uses iron ingots and coal. So we need a source of iron ingots. And we have 2 pure iron nodes pretty much on either side of this outpost, so it just makes sense to do it right here. Okay. Now, you have to get a little bit tricky to feed these because this is too many to be fed by one belt of iron ore, but 2 belts will feed it, so that's why we created this space here in the center. The first belt will feed, you know, this group of 24, and the second belt will feed the second group of 24. Now to set this up, it has to be tricky again. To do it perfectly, here's this little method that I came up with. I'm going to use a splitter. Directly sit her on the floor, and then we're going to have a second splitter on top of it. Just make sure that at least the top splitter is oriented the right way. That's all that really matters. This lower splitter, the ground splitter, is going to be removed. We're just using the ground splitter to provide those teal lines so that we know that the top splitter is perfectly aligned with the smelters. Okay, we're out of cable, that's fine. Now we can deconstruct all of these ground splitters. And add our belts, and we'll put in conveyor poles at, you know, a reasonable distance. 5 foundations is safe, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By safe I mean we know the belts will stretch 5 foundations, no problem. And we have to do it this way because instead of, you know, placing the belts first on the poles and then putting your splitters, two reasons. One, this way it lets us be perfectly aligned, and also if you put the belts first and then you stack your splitters up, for some reason right now the splitters are not connecting with the belts. You have to, you know, delete the belts and and connect them to the splitters again anyway. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More conveyor bolts. Okay, so this is the end of the lower belt. That's all that these splitters, or all that that belt can support. Let's run back to base for more supplies. Okay. Need iron rods and cable. I think we're good on everything else. Over here. Let's grab some more pipes. Let's grab some more rods. Oh, we're definitely gonna need more steel beams. Let's put some rods back and grab some more steel beams. Okay. We've actually got way more wire than we would ever need. Okay, that looks good. So we'll put a stackable conveyor pole right here. We'll extend the belt just to do it. Now we need to run back and add a second level to these conveyor poles. And we're going to grab the upper belt. Okay, let's go ahead and finish these splitters. Okay. Now what's going to happen is we're going to bring the upper belt down to the lower belt's level. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 foundations. All right. Nope. Okay. Now we can use Mark 1 belts to connect the splitters to the smelters. Can I select the... No. Before we do the Mark 1 belts, let's select our recipe here. This is going to be a pretty sizable steel operation. I think it should be enough for endgame. Guess we should think about how many of these we can support. 8, I guess. 8 in each cluster. 8 times 30 is 240, which is our current belt capacity. Man, we do not have the power for this. I mean, if everything was running, definitely not. So, the next step after this steel factory is absolutely going to be to revisit our coal generators and add more. We'll be using a new setup from our previous, from our first batch of coal generators. I've been talking with a few people on the Discord, and they have some creative ways to overcome the pipe limit of 300, cubic meters per minute. So that'll be fun to try and set up. It'll make our coal stretch a little bit farther. Not too much farther, but a little bit. And I guess it basically allows you to set up 16 coal generators instead of like the 15 that we've got up. But it requires an extra water extractor. But I think that's still like a net gain of 55 megawatts. It's not nothing at this stage of the game. Okay. So all of our inputs are connected. Now we need some mergers on the outputs. And for these mergers, we'll just run them the entire length of the row of smelters, and each side, the northern side and the southern side, both groups together should completely fill. Well, not completely fill, but will mostly fill a Mark 5 belt. Full Mark 5 belt, we would need 52, and we're only using we would need 26 instead of 24. What are we doing here? There we go. Nope. Mergers. Alright, same thing on the other side. We're going to output to the east, and then we'll have our coal coming in from the east as well. So the coal and the iron ingots will all be lifted to the second floor from the east side. And then we'll turn that into steel ingots in the next episode. And is that lined up? We'll turn the iron ingots and the coal into steel ingots, and then we'll refine that into beams and pipes, steel pipes. Okay, we got a weird power pole right here. It's not connected to anything. Merger. Okay. Mark 1 belts. These large scale setups, they just take some time to assemble, you know? I worry that it seems like we're not getting a lot done in each episode, but the scale that we're working with, this is going to have a pretty substantial output once all the belts are upgraded and we've got the power grid to support them. And again, you know, if viewers would prefer to see me build in another way, like include more of this, you know, large-scale repetitive building in the recordings, or less of it, I could just do like a walkthrough of what I've done, or include it when I've, you know, record it when I'm doing something different or significantly different from something that I've done in the past. I'm definitely open to that. I just, right now my method is just kind of to show a little bit of each step of each outpost, even if I'm not showing everything. Did I not connect that? Yeah, these need to be connected. But, you know, like 3 people are watching this and no one's commented, so it doesn't really matter too much either way, I guess. Alright, let's get some power up. I'm enjoying the series. I hope that it's not terribly dull to watch. I think it's going to be much more interesting once we start transferring products between the different outposts to make like the more complex products, and that'll be happening after the steel outpost. We'll be making, you know, rotors and stators and motors, and those, you know, we won't be doing any smelting for that. It'll all be products that are made in other outposts that have been transferred to the motor outpost. And at this stage, it probably means tractors, but eventually I'm thinking it'll be trains. The save game hitches are starting to get longer. So that's 8 machines from the second cluster. Now we'll power up 8 machines from the first cluster. Alright, that's it. In the next episode, we'll route these iron ingots up to. Let me just make sure these are going the right way. Yeah, good. We'll route these up to the second floor, and we'll set up our foundries. I think we've got something like 36 foundries to set up. I think in the next episode we can get all the foundries set up, as well as the constructors for steel beams and steel pipes, and be done with the steel outpost, then move on to power, and then motors, and we need to set up a crystal factory too. And then we'll be ready to unlock tiers 5 and 6, deal with oil, etc. So thanks for watching. You know, I've got one guy out there hitting the like button. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't, and you know, I'll see you guys in the next episode.